Here's my review of Spider-Noir. I thought that this show was almost great. And I feel like I have to preface this. Like, I still really like this show. Like, I think that I would give it like a 7, 8 out of 10. Really, really fun. My only problem, well, my main problem with this show is quite simple. Our main villain here, Silvermane, in my opinion, is just not that interesting or compelling. Like, in many ways, he kind of just feels like a generic mob boss, and I think that Brendan Gleeson is great in this role. I think that he's great in all the things that I see him in. But he just wasn't really super interesting. He's really, like, just a mob boss, and I'm kind of getting sick of the mob boss villains, whether it's Kingpin, Silvermane in this. I thought Penguin was great. But I just think that the mob boss trope has kind of been played out, and I understand why they want to do that for Spider-Noir, because it is this 1930s crime show. I just found this particular villain just be not great. But as for this show in general, I watched like the first episode in black and white, then I watched the second episode in color, then I went back to black and white because I think it works better in black and white. And the black and white is great, but what you really watch this show for is Nick Cage's performance. Of course, he's just great. I always say this whenever I review anything with Nick Cage, because I am biased, and he is one of my favorite actors. And in this show, he's no different. He is just great. He's so much fun. He's so entertaining to watch, and he has such a fun personality, because this particular version of Spider-Man, like, he's not, like, we are used to seeing Spider-Man depressed. But in this version, it's Ben Reilly and not Peter Parker. But it's just interesting seeing an older Spider-Man. And, like, this Spider-Man, you're like, yeah, he has problems. He used to be this big hero, but he's not anymore. Like, this is the kind of hero who has a drunk bar fight. But that's what makes this show great, is, like, you're watching this and you're like, I would never think that I would see a Spider-Man project where Spider-Man is drunk fighting people in a bar. But that's what this show allows, and because of Nick's over-the-top performance, it just works, and he just fits so well into this classic noir theme. And, like, he does his little Nick Cage-isms, where, like, after he'll beat someone, he's like, ha, ha-cha-cha! It's just, like, it's something where it's so silly, but that only he can do it. And he's just great. And we got to talk about the cinematography in the show. It really is great, and all the costume designs are great. And the femme fatale is also great with Felicia Harding. Although I will say, like I said, I would have liked to maybe see her as Black Cat, because we kind of just see her as Felicia Harding. And it is good. I think that she's great in here. I think that one thing I thought was really well done is, like, how she figures out that Ben Reilly is Spider-Man, or the Spider as he's called in this show, and how he has to save her. It's kind of like Superman 2 kind of scenes where Lois jumps out the window. But I really liked her, and I hope that with season 2, I hope she kind of does become Black Cat. I don't really think that they really even hinted at that in this show. Like, the only similarity she has to Black Cat is just her name's Felicia Harding. But I thought that she was great. I thought that she was a really interesting love interest. I thought she worked great. She works so great for, I think, what kind of show this is. As she is, in many ways, she doesn't get that much character development, and she really is just the sexy femme fatale of those 1930s, 40s movies. But it works within this world. It works for what it is. And it works very well. And of course, like, you do still get a lot of action with this show. Like, there's a great car scene. And I do like how this Spider-Man, he doesn't really hold back. Like, during this fight scene, he just, like, will throw people out of cars. And that's just fun to see a Spider-Man that, like, who is that brutal. And it just works for, like I said, within the world of this show. I think that it really works. And there's so many great scenes, like, where Nick Cage, I keep saying Nick Cage, but where Ben Reilly, in, like, the second episode, where he has to impersonate a plumber just to get his Spider-Man costume back. Keep saying Spider-Man. The Spider costume back. And it's just great. He's so over the top and fun. It's just a great little scene where he'll literally just impersonate a plumber, and then he'll also just, like, break into somebody's bathroom and he finds his costume in the wall. It's just great. And personally, I love that he has organic webbing in this show. I've personally always liked the idea of organic webbing. I know some people hate it, but I also think that's another thing that within this show, I think that it makes sense because he gets his powers in a different way. In this world, he basically was a soldier and he got bitten by like a Nazi experiment man spider. And it's just great. Like it just adds a sense of horror and like, wow, that's just something so different. But it just works. And seeing like after he gets bit, like how his reactions, like almost like he's going through an allergic reaction. He does his classic Cage isms. If you watch a lot of Nicolas Cage like movies, you know what I'm talking about. Like the way his body movements and him just going like, and he'll just like the way he'll move will just work well because you can clearly tell that Ben as a character, like at least what he's going through here, I mean, he's terrified and he's basically transforming like into a monster, kind of. I mean, they don't really go the whole like monster route with him. It's really just that one scene where he gets bit by the man spider. But I will say that they were able to also give, like, in this flashback episode, a lot of depth of one of the mad scientists basically curing, I believe it was her husband and making him young, or it might have been her son. I don't really remember completely. But it was a really cool episode, and, like, it just kind of focused on these, like, horrific experiments, but it was just so compelling. And I will say, like, another really cool villain who I actually quite liked, like, is more of a henchman, was, like, I don't remember if they specifically said what his name was. If this was supposed to be this universe's version of the Spider-Man villain, Electro or the Shocker. But he does have electric lightning powers, and it does lead to a really cool fight. And he's great, and he has this weird, gravelly, like slimy voice that just really makes him come off as such a terrible dude. And it just works because he's like such an over-the-top, like, evil guy, but it just works for the within the world because that's what this world is. It was also really cool, like, seeing, like, some of the other versions of the Spider-Man villain. Like, you do see a version of Sandman in here, although he's not the main villain. And, like, at the very first episode when they, like, throw him off a building, then you finally see him use his webbings for the first time. It was just awesome. It was really cool. And I think that some of the other characters here, like the side characters of Robbie Robertson and Janet as, like, basically Ben's detective partners, were really good as well. I thought they served their purpose. They were really fun side characters. And I especially did really like Janet. She had such a really fun personality. And Robbie is always great. I mean, believe the only time we've seen Robbie Robertson in live action was just in the original Sam Raimi movies, where, I mean, he was great there too. Although, of course, he got outshined by J.K. Simmons as the iconic J. Jonah Jameson. But Robbie was great. I really liked Janet. And their dynamic together was also pretty good. And I love the way Janet and Ben Reilly, like, their dynamic is really fun. I will say, overall, I did really enjoy this show. Like I said, I just wish that, I hope that with season 2, we get to see more of some iconic classic Spider-Man villains, because I liked Sandman in here. He was really cool. But, I mean, and I completely understand. This obviously is trying to be much more of a detective show. And I was invested. Like, I liked seeing Ben kind of trying to track down this World War I veteran, this pyrokinetic guy with pyrokinesis fire powers. That was cool. But, I would like to see maybe what does this universe's version of Dr. Octopus look like? What would he be like? Would he be this mad scientist? How would Spider-Man, or how would the Spider face up against that? And of course you do get this overarching theme, of course, like this superhero coming out of retirement, and it works. It is like a big factor into the show, because of course he's not as good as he used to be. And that works for this type of show. So yeah, overall, I had a really fun time with the show. I just do hope that with season 2, we just get some better villains. That's all. Overall, I had a really fun time with the show. It was awesome.